Welcome to Kelly Minds Her Manners, a podcast about real estate and entrepreneurship with a twist. Here's your host, Kelly Robinson.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Kelly Minds Her Manners. Thank you for tuning in today. I have the pleasure of having Tiffani Hawes with me today as a guest. Tiffani owns her own law firm in Atlanta, Georgia. She specializes in real estate closings and she deals a lot with clients in the sports and entertainment sector. So she and I have a lot in common, which is super fun. She's also a TV personality on the show Ladies Who List on the Oprah Winfrey Network. So you may have seen her and you might recognize her. She specializes and aims to make real estate closings and the entire process pre-closing, which many of us know can be up and down and all around, a celebration. And I love that about her. She's really authentic in this interview and vulnerable and open and just honest. And I love that too. I think you're really going to have fun listening today. So please welcome Tiffani Hawes. So Tiffani, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know you are super busy, and I'm grateful that you made the time to be on Kelly Minds Her Manners today. Really excited for my guests, for my audience to hear your story and everything that you do. I think
everything.
It's well, I mean, you're a successful real estate attorney in the Atlanta area with your own law firm, and you have like 13 or 14 people under you at your firm. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a pretty big firm. You're a TV personality. You're a mother of 3. You're a dedicated wife. You're involved in the PTA. You do volunteer work. You're involved in the Sports and Entertainment Society. I mean, how? Like, how do you also look like refreshed and fabulous and do it all?
I don't know. One day at a time.
Yeah. I mean, how do you balance it? Like, what's your secret?
I don't think I do balance it. I don't think that there is no secret. I think some days are more overwhelming than other days. And I just try and get through each day. Like, when people talk about balance, I'm like, that doesn't exist. Like, I can look however I want to look, but on the inside, I'm probably extremely stressed out. I probably, cussed out my husband or somebody. Like, I need help or I need support. I think one of the biggest things is having your community around you. And by community, I mean like your family. Like, I have a really big support system. My husband is very involved. So you might see me at the games, but he's the one that takes the kids to all the practices while I'm still at work or I'm out networking. If we have to go out of town, then that's when grandmas and nannies comes in at. So I'm not doing it by myself, and right. That helps out a lot. Now, if I was having to go pick up kids and do this and do that, and then I have a 17-year-old son too who drives. So, sometimes I'm like, get the kids, I'll meet you, here, whatever. And so having that big support system definitely helps with it. But I truly don't believe in balance. I just think that, some days you may have good days and other days, it might be really stressful. Getting to a place where everything is just zen and working the way that we want it to work, like, I don't think that exists.
Yeah, I hear you. I feel the same way. My analogy is that I'm like my apartment in a way where, everything looks really organized and put together, but you open that one closet and there's an avalanche.
It's a mess. It's a mess. Like, it is a mess. But I've also been, I've gotten to the place where everything was too much and it burnt me out and pretty much had like a mental breakdown. So now in my space of where I'm at in life now, I do put myself first a lot more. Like, I am all about taking care of myself and what can I do to eliminate some of these stresses? If that means I can't deal with the kids today and go to the game or whatever, then I'm not going to do it, because Before it was like the pressure to do everything and make everything and keep everybody happy. But that was at the expense of me. And I'm no longer doing that.
You know what? And I have so much respect for you for saying that. My therapist tells me all the time, you need to practice more self-care and put yourself first more. And I'm not even a mom. Like, I have dogs, but it's nothing like being a mom. And there are so many people who are moms and don't have another career, or, don't have a job in the business world and don't have all these other things that you're doing that sacrifice everything for everybody else. And it's so important to have your boundaries and
Right.
and self-care. So I'm gonna take a note on that because
Yes. I mean, it's tough though, and this is what I like when you've gone so long with being everything to everybody. The moment you pull back, then people will immediately call you selfish. Like, and it's like at some point you got to be okay with that. Like, yes, I am selfish. Like, because if I can't take care of myself, when I come home, I'm not going to be happy to see you. I'm going to be irritated. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be quick to want to fuss and all of that. And you don't like that person either. So choose. Let me choose me sometimes and you get the happier me, or don't allow me to choose me and you get the angry me. Which one do you want?
Yeah, I'm like, amen. I am right there with you. I think that's so smart. And, you figured it out. So bravo. What led you to a career in law? Because you went all through undergrad and then went to law school. I mean, you were a poli-sci major. A lot of people don't figure that out until later on. So what was it about law that interested you, and real estate law as well?
Well, I remember, and I tell this story all the time, I remember being like 7, 8, or 9, watching those judge shows, like the Judge Judy or whatever. And it was like divorce court, and they were getting a divorce. The lady was getting the short end of the stick. And I remember saying, when I get older, I'm going to be a lawyer. So if me and my husband get divorced, I'm going to kick him out of my house instead of he kicking me out of his. That was at that young age that I decided, maybe not for the right reasons, but I decided that I did want to go to law school. And so when I went through undergrad, I did political science with an English minor, which is your typical undergrad degree for people that are going to law school, where they do like a criminal law major or something like that. And then when I got out of undergrad, I was pregnant with my oldest son, who's now 17. And so I couldn't go to law school immediately. So I went into the work field and got a job. And the law firm that called me back was a real estate law firm. I didn't even make the connection between real estate and law until that office called me back. And that was the first time that I was even aware of like the buying process, like buying homes and how the law is associated with that. Like, I had no idea. But as you know, because you're in real estate, once you get in real estate, there's no going back to anything else. So once I got that job, I was kind of stuck from there. And so that's how I ended up being in real estate. And then when I did finally go to law school, as my son got a little older, when I graduated, it was like either learn something totally new, or take real estate by the horns, open your own practice, and go 100 miles per hour. And I decided to do the real estate going 100 miles per hour.
Smart. And
I don't know.
You don't know? Do you enjoy real estate?
I do. I enjoy the buyers getting their homes, the sellers selling their homes. There's a lot of misinformation and uneducated people who are professionals in our industry. Yep. Maybe they just got into real estate. Maybe they've done a few transactions, and they seem to believe that they know how all of this works. But if you've been in real estate long enough, you understand that every transaction is different. Nothing is ever the same. I've been in since 2006, so like 18, 19 years, and I still learn to this day. And so when you're in this industry, you have to remain open. You have to continue to educate yourself. You can't be that person that says, I've been doing this for 20 years and I've never seen this. Like, real estate is ever changing. And so if I could just get those people to leave the industry, I think that I would be a much happier person.
I will help you.
To see the buyers, because it really truly is the quickest way to wealth. And to see buyers who may be the first time in their whole entire family purchasing a home, it really does something to me because I know it's going to do something for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I love that you said that. And I agree with you 100%. I really want to make it harder to get your license and keep your license. Because it's true, there's so much misinformation, and I've been in the business for 18 years and I learn something new every single day. And I don't ever pretend that I know everything, because every deal is different. Every single one is unique, and there's a lot of emotion involved, as you know.
Tons of emotion. If we can pull that out too. And like I love to explain to my buyers or sellers, it's like, me as the closing attorney, it's another transaction for us, meaning we don't have any emotions tied to, I've been in this house for so many years, or if sellers are divorcing and you're having to sell the home, or buyers, this is their first time and they're really extremely scared. For us, we are following a process. And so, we have to find ways to connect to the buyers and sellers without allowing them to kind of overtake us sometimes, because it's just like, we understand it's very emotional for you guys, but it's good to have the people that are outside of their emotions, because we're the ones that's going to make sure it goes right for you.
Absolutely.
If you stay in your emotions, you're going to be mad about something for $200. It doesn't even matter in the grand scheme of things.
1,000%. And I always tell people that I'm working with, please pay for a good real estate attorney, and don't go to your divorce attorney for a real estate transaction or your personal injury lawyer. Like, you want somebody who specializes in real estate, understands real estate, and is going to protect you, and you get what you pay for. And this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, investment of your life. You need to pay for the right real estate attorney. If you need to pay an extra $1,000 to have that protection and that knowledge and that person behind you, do it. It's the best money you will ever spend.
Yeah. And it's hard to explain that to some people because they're counting the dollars, but it's like, go to Walmart instead of Target to save money. But when it comes to buying a home, where if one thing goes wrong, it can cost you a lot more money, like, go with the better protection.
1,000%. It'll save you money in the long run, probably.
Correct.
So, your tagline is everyone's favorite closing attorney. So you try to make the process fun and enjoyable, and the closing fun and enjoyable. I know you've had cocktails and DJs and all sorts of fun stuff at your closings. What do you do pre-closing to make it fun?
So for us, you understand the process. Getting to the closing table is probably, one of the most stressful things for buyers and sellers. Yeah. Buyers, when they're going through with their lenders are asking them for the same documents 50 million times. One day everything is good. The next day they need 10 more things from you. The sellers, they're upset because they don't want to pay any money to get this and fixed and that fixed. And so when you're going through all of these like high level emotions, you're happy, then you're sad, then you're angry, then you're back happy. It's like, once you get to the closing table, the first thing is, we want to educate you. We want to go over the things that matter the most, the things that are important to you. But once we get through that, then we're celebrating the fact that we are here. This is not just another transaction. Like, you made it. And because a lot of people don't make it. A lot of people, get frustrated, or, their financing may be denied at the last minute. So the fact that you've made it this far and we're here, to me, that calls for a celebration. And so I worked for several different attorneys before I opened my practice, but as a paralegal. Mm-hmm. And it was very transactional. It was like people would come in, you would sign, they would leave. People would come in, that you would sign, and they would leave. And I was just like, when I do this, like, to me, buying a house should be just a little bit more exciting. Like, it shouldn't just be like sign here, and then you leave.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate. We're in the world of social media, and people love, celebrating themselves and showing people what, things that they've done. And buying a house is one of those things. And so we make it to where, if you want to celebrate, if you want to show, then we're going to give the people a show. If you don't, and you want to remain extremely private, we also do that as well. So it's not a requirement, but if you want, we have it available if you want to do it.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. And you know what? I want to be at your closing table.
Kelly.
And the after party.
Yeah.
What is the most challenging deal you've had to date? Can you talk about it?
I can talk about one that has been extremely challenging recently.
Okay.
And that is one involving a divorce between the sellers. In real estate, here in Georgia, they have an order over most counties that require closing attorneys. If we find out that you are currently going through a divorce and it hasn't been finalized, we have to either get the divorce finalized or get an order from the court allowing the sale. And this kind of happened all around COVID when all the courts were shut down and things weren't being pushed through. Well, that order still exists today. And so we recently had a couple that were getting a divorce, and they were actually already divorced, and the settlement agreement and divorce decree was already signed and executed. But they hated each other so much that every other day they would file something new with the court. One of the sellers filed a lien against the ex-husband, but on the property that she was selling. And it was like 3 days prior to closing. And I'm
my God.
And then one of their attorneys ended up filing a lien. And then the seller, she contested the lien. Like, it was every single day there was something new. And I just began to wonder, like, did you really want to sell your house? Or are you trying to do everything possible to sabotage this sale?
Yeah.
Because you still want that connection with, your ex-spouse. And that's great and fine if that's what you want to do in your personal life. But the problem is that now we're involving a whole buyer.
Yeah.
A buyer with a family, a buyer with kids, one that is looking to close and to move into their house. And every time they get a chance to, you do something to sabotage it. And that is something that's currently going on right now. And it's very sad to see. It's sad to see on both sides, because at some point you loved this man and this man loved you. And you're now at the point where you hate each other this bad. Y'all have a kid together.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. I don't understand that part, because if you don't want to be together, then don't be together. Like, why would you waste all of this energy, time, and money to fight for something or about something that is no longer going to be anything? Like, and you have a kid. I don't understand that. And then the other side of it is, it's just sad to see a buyer who really wants this house, and every opportunity they get to get it, they get shut out,
It's horrible. And you know what? I'm going to be a psychotherapy expert right now and say that I think you're right. I think that she wanted to hold on to that house for that connection, even though they hate each other. They say the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference.
Yeah.
So, but I love how empathetic you are. And I noticed that on the show, which we'll talk about soon, but you, I felt like, were the most vulnerable and empathetic person on Ladies Who List. I really respected and appreciated the way that you handled yourself, because it's really hard to be on a reality TV show. They can edit you however they want. They can, I get it. And they want the drama. And I really felt like you held your own so well, and you still, like, your true self came out. And I loved your empathy and vulnerability around a lot of different things. So that's awesome. So how did that show come about? How did you become a cast member and a TV star of Ladies List?
Really, honestly, I was just doing what I do. And so when I got licensed to be an attorney, I had to figure out how I was going to get business. And the traditional route, like going into brokerages offices, like whoever your broker is, they typically have their preferred vendors, right? So this broker may have their preferred attorney, their preferred lender, they prefer this. And every time I would walk in, I would be met with, we already have our people. So I wasn't sure really how to navigate that side until I went on Instagram and found the power. And at this time, this is when hashtags were like a really big thing. Mm-hmm. And I ended up coming across Atlanta real estate agent hashtag. And I was like, oh my God, this is where all the people are. Like, these are where the people that I need to see. Yeah. And so I really started focusing on my Instagram and tried to look interesting, tried to be interesting, like tried to be something different than what the normal closing attorney looked like, act like, how they marketed their business. And so I began to focus on social media, and it was through that platform where a producer, saw my page and saw this and really wanted to get a show in Atlanta about real estate. And so really I was minding my business, and they just found me, just doing what I do every day. I always tell people, if you focus your energy on that one thing and you become an expert and you become amazingly good at it, opportunities are going to find you all the time. You don't have to go looking for it or pretending to be something. Like, if you're really good at it, opportunities are going to find you. And that's exactly what happened with the show.
I love that. And you're right. You do social media differently. Your social media is fun. It's not your typical attorney who's just posting, their, done deals or closings or facts. I mean, all of that is good and added value with, facts and advice, but you have fun. You kind of like break through that attorney stigma that people have. Yeah. And I love it.
Yeah. I always tell people, when you meet me, I don't want the first thing you think about is, oh, she's an attorney. Like, oh, I'm a mom. I'm a regular person. I just happen to practice law.
Yeah. And we'll put your social media handles in the show notes so that everybody can follow you and see what I'm talking about. It's great. Social media is great. What were the auditions like for Ladies Who List? I mean, they found you, so they scouted you. But did you have to go through an audition process?
No, so there was no audition process. It was like, it started off as probably 9 women, I want to say. And we came and we did interviews where, like, they would ask us certain questions. And then they narrowed the 9 down to the 6 of us. Yeah. And then COVID happened, so it put everything on a delay. And then once a lot of the TV people figured out how they were going to like work and do things in the midst of COVID, then they greenlighted our show. And it was literally like one day, hey, it's been 3 years, but everything's been greenlighted. And we started filming. So it wasn't like an interview process where like I was trying to make the show. It was, they would ask us questions about who we were, how we were, all the things going on. And then they just narrowed it down from 9. I think it was 9 initial people to the 6.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a huge commitment on top of everything else that you do. So how did you work that into your schedule, and did you enjoy it?
Well, the good thing about what we did, which wasn't shown as much, which, I understand being on this side of things, reality TV is entertainment.
Of course.
But because this was about what I do every day, it was easy. Like they did film a lot of things as far as like us at work, us doing closings, all these different things, which was literally real live events that were actually happening. So it wasn't like a huge deal to kind of maneuver it in. It was just, if we did film a closing takes 45 minutes. When you're filming a closing, it takes 2.5 hours.
Right.
It's like, no, we got to redo this, resay this, do that. But it wasn't like a huge disruption in our life because it was really based on the reality of, what I did every day anyway. So I didn't have to invent myself and be a whole nother person and figure that part out. It was just me and what I did daily.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I know on some of the shows, clients don't feel comfortable being taped and you have to have a stand-in and all this other stuff, which can get time consuming. And you had good luck, I guess, with your clients being willing to go on the show. And
yes, some of them, a lot of them, because I do work with a lot of high profile people.
Yeah.
Those people, of course, sometimes prefer privacy over, entertainment purposes, because these are things that are really in their personal life and they don't want everybody knowing. But for the most part, people are excited for opportunities or to be on a show and to be a part of something. So we honestly didn't have many problems with that. The only big issues we had was the COVID restrictions. And so anytime we filmed, we always had to get tested for COVID. Anytime like bystanders were part of it, they had to be tested for COVID. So it was just figuring all of that out. That was like a major problem back when we were filming.
Yeah, I can imagine. So speaking of high profile, you are in and you were the VP of the Sports Entertainment Society. So how did you get into the sports and working with clients in the sports and entertainment fields?
Well, number one, Atlanta is, this is like celebrity sports central, right? There's so many entertainers, athletes that live in Atlanta. And it actually wasn't my connections that got me the closings that I end up doing with these people, right? The celebrities or athletes. It's the people, the agents that I've ended up connecting myself with and being a huge added value to their practice. And when they need questions, when they need flexibility, or when they need client anonymity and privacy and not closing in a traditional office because people don't want to see other people and us doing things in a very private setting, they knew that me and my office was flexible enough to do that. So it was my alignment with the agents who did have those connections with the agents, the athletes, the actors and actresses and entertainers, in the Atlanta market, that gave me access to be able to do those type of closings.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always the gatekeeper.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. I'm wondering if you know my very good friend and colleague, Erica Mitchell.
Yes.
She's awesome, right? Isn't she great? I love her. She's one of my colleagues in the sports and entertainment division of Compass.
Yeah, and she does. She works with a lot of athletes. Me and Erica have closed, I think, maybe 2 professional basketball players together. Love Erica. Love her energy. She's great.
Yeah, I'm sure she loves you too. You and your family are very involved in the community. You've done a bunch of volunteer work for Synergy X for the Women's Empowerment Group. So what's important to you about that?
Passing the torch or information to women so that everyone feels like they have the same opportunity and the same chance. I think you have a large group of the population that believes that things are only for certain people. But if you talk to those certain people, me or any successful person, and you really hear their story, it wasn't that it was this great story, this path of gold that they just happened to walk on. A lot of times it comes from, there's a song, it started from the bottom, now we're here.
Mm-hmm.
being in a place where you're really working hard and grinding in the midst of so many different turbulent situations and things that are trying to prevent you from being successful. And the difference between you and that other person that's watching you is that when things got hard, you just kept going. When things got hard for them, they stopped.
Yeah.
And so when people understand that it's you that's preventing you from getting to where you want to be, then, and they can see that little light, then you'll see people start progressing. And so for me, I fully understand that. I fully believe that whatever I want to do, I can do it. I just need to take the steps to get there. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean that, like I'm not going to want to quit. But if I don't quit and I keep going, then at some point I'm going to reap everything that I sowed. And so for me, just being that shining light and helping as many people see that light as possible, I just feel like, to me, like that makes me feel good.
Yeah, I love that. I'm all about lifting other women up. I don't think there are enough women that lift each other up. And so when I found out that you were a part of that, I was super excited and happy to talk to you about it, because I love that. And I love women who support other women. I think it's so important.
Yeah, we're great at what we do. So like, why wouldn't you support the next one?
I agree. I mean, we're great multitaskers, and that can be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So what's next for you? Do you have any big plans, or are you going to write a book? Are you going to, what's next?
I don't have a what's next. Like, I'm still very much involved in my practice and handling business and closings on a daily basis. I love being with my children. Like I said, I have a 17-year-old son. So just kind of figuring out what he wants to do and helping him navigate, building my children up in every way possible so that they can accomplish their dreams. Like, I accomplished my dream. I wanted to be an attorney, and I am an attorney. And I don't want to continue setting goals and having to work and grind to get there.
Yeah.
At some point, it's just like, I'm going to work, I'm going to make this money, and I'm going to be responsible so that I can retire soon. And I can just, if my son starts playing professional baseball, go to all his baseball games.
Yeah.
Chill, vacation, and do all of those things, because for so long I've just worked so hard and trying to build. And although that is great and it's done, amazing things for my family, for other families who are associated with my business, it's just like, at some point, I just want to enjoy the fruits of my labor and not keep having these goals that I need to obtain. So at this point, I'm just, what's for me is for me,
Yeah. So when you retire, what is on your bucket list? What do you want to
raise
do?
my grandkids.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I tell my oldest son, he's 17, and hopefully I don't get no grandkids anytime soon. But I'm like, you can just give them to me. I'll take care of them. Just get a good wife, make sure me and her get along, and then I'll take care of the kids. You won't have to worry about it.
You're going to be the best grandma that does not look like a grandma. So, okay. Well, thank you for all of this amazing stuff that you just discussed with me. I'm really grateful. It is now time for my fearless 5 questions.
Okay.
So we get 5 questions.
Should I be scared?
Passes. No, I don't think so. But if you don't want to answer 2 of them, you can just say pass, and we won't be upset with you. So number 1 is one that I ask at almost everybody, because I feel like the answers are always so different. It's a loaded question, but I think it's interesting to hear the answers. So what is something you think most people value or put emphasis on in their lives that you don't necessarily value or subscribe to, and why?
Money. I think a lot of people think that making tons of money makes you a better person, makes you happier, gives you everything that you need or want. But the reality is, yes, you definitely need money, right? But to me, peace, family, and support is so much more valuable than money, because when you're going through this thing that we call life, right? We have hard days, we have really, really hard days. And then some days, are okay. And then other days we have great days. But when you're going through those really, really hard days, money means absolutely nothing to you in those moments. Like, it can't do anything for you. If you get sick, right? You get cancer, or something happens to your kid, the last thing on your mind is money. The first thing on your mind is, I love this person. Let me do whatever it takes to be around this person. You want that person to be healthy. You want them to be happy and all of those things. And money takes a backseat to all of those things, because money is not what truly makes us happy. It's our family, it's our loved ones, it's our support system, it's a peace of mind that does. So I would say that a lot of people put emphasis on money, and people will come back and say, well, you're only saying that because, you have money or whatever. But me and my husband will have discussions, and we'll be like, man, when we lived in our $90,000 townhome, when it was just me, you, and, our oldest son at that time, we spent so much time together. We rarely went out to eat. We cooked at home. It was just family, family, family. We were more at peace. We were more happier back then than now. We're in Atlanta, and, where all the kids are busy doing so many different things, and we're Ubering food because we can't cook at home. It's different, and sometimes we're like, man, if we can just go back to that,
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Hindsight. Mm-hmm. It's so true. Okay, number 2. I love that answer, by the way. What's your guilty pleasure?
Ice cream and Netflix.
What's your ice cream? What's your flavor?
I love chocolate chip ice cream. I love chocolate chip ice cream. And Netflix, it's evil, because if you start watching one of those series, I can't stop. I'll be up to 4:00 in the morning just to finish the whole entire series. It is addicting, but I love it so much.
I know. Me too. So what show should we all be watching right now?
Well, I'm a little behind, but right now I'm probably on season 6 of Suits, and it is so good.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Good. Oh my God, it's the best. Yeah.
Okay. If you could go back 15 or 20 years and give your younger self one piece of business advice, what would it be?
Back 20 years. It would probably be, enjoy your 20s and not so much focus on getting to success, right? When I was in my 20s, I had a kid young, but then it was like, I want to go to law school. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. I want to do that. It's like your 20s should be spent doing dumb things, fun, really just enjoying life in your 20s. Because as you get older, different things start happening to you, whether it's health things, your career, burnout, all of these different things. So if I can go back to my younger self, I would just say, chill a little bit, don't focus on getting to the next level, focus on that, but just not so extreme the way that I was.
Yeah. That's good advice. It's true. You got to live your life, right? Make bad decisions with your best friends.
Right.
Okay. What trait would you say most defines you?
I would say my ability to focus. Like, I'm a very focused individual. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter at the expense of who, what, when, where. I'm going to get it done. And it could be great in some ways, and it can be like a bad thing in others.
Yeah. But you're a motivated, driven person.
Yeah.
And
I think
why
that's
you're
like
successful.
genetic with people. Like, you know, like people say, not everybody's supposed to be a business owner, because owning your own business and running it is difficult. You know,
Yeah.
like there's people that are meant to be in situations where you're working for somebody, because we're just not all built the same. You know, like it takes a lot to be a business owner.
Yeah. And going back to your empathy, it's a rare combination to see somebody with that motivation, that drive, that business acumen, and empathy. And when I find people who have all of those things, I'm like, that you're a triple threat. You know, because you're a good, you know, so many successful people, there's something off, and a lot of times it has to do with them just being willing to just run over whoever is in their way. And, you know, you have empathy, and I love that about you. And I think it's so important to what you do, you know, working with people who are making emotional investments. I just think it's awesome. Okay. So number 5, do you believe in second chances?
So I'm working on that right now in therapy. It depends. So with people that I love, I believe in second chances.
Mm-hmm.
With people who are not really in my life, in my close-knit circle, I don't. It's just like, you know, if you do something, like I just have a way of just cutting people off and moving on. Doesn't mean that it's right. And like I said, I'm working on that right now. Just being able to be in a space where, you know, understanding that a lot of people have a lot of things going on in their lives right now. Like I mentioned before, there's a lot of divorces going on. People are not as financially stable as they were. You know, people get diagnosed with illnesses every day. And just being in a place where I can allow somebody to have a second chance, because I understand that life can be hard. Beyond, you know, my family, who I believe deserves second chances. So I'm kind of working on that right now.
Yeah, but I hear you. I mean, I agree. People that you love, you know, nobody's perfect, but you know, people in your random circle, they screw you over. Like, maybe I should talk to my therapist about it, because I'm like, see you later, you know.
Yeah.
Hire slow, fire fast. So, but yeah, I appreciate your honesty and your authenticity and vulnerability. And this is a great interview, and I'm really grateful I got to know you.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly, for having me. I appreciate that.
Thank you. And I am now a dedicated follower of yours on social media, and everybody else should be. You should go and follow Tiffani. You can also find her on her website, which will also be in the show notes, if you need a kick-ass real estate attorney in the Atlanta area. And yeah, I hope we get to talk again soon.
Me too, Kelly. You have a great rest of your day, and thank you again for having me.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Thank you for watching and listening to Kelly Minds Her Manners. Make sure to subscribe to the show, and don't forget to leave us a review to tell us what you liked about the episode. You can connect with Kelly at Kelly Minds Her Manners on Instagram and TikTok, or on our website, www.kellymindshermanners.com.